Today's page. He counts them up to make sure they are all there. If one is lost, he looks for it. Total pages. Sure enough, Hannah and her husband had a baby boy. They thanked God for their new son. They named him Samuel. A voice in the night. 1 Samuel chapter 3. When Samuel was a little boy, Hannah brought him to live at the tabernacle. She had promised God that Samuel would serve him all his life. The priest Eli would now take care of Samuel. He would teach Samuel about God. One night, while Samuel was sleeping, he heard a voice say, "Samuel." He ran to Eli and said, "Here I am." But Eli said, "I did not call you." Then Samuel went back to bed. Samuel heard a voice call his name 2 more times. Each time, Samuel ran to Eli. Finally, Eli told Samuel, "I think God is speaking to you. Next time say, 'Yes, Lord, I am listening.'" Then Samuel went back to bed. "Samuel, Samuel," the voice said again. This time Samuel answered, "Yes, Lord, I am listening." From that moment on, Samuel gave messages to God's people. He was a special prophet of God. Israel's first king, 1 Samuel chapters 8 through 10. When Samuel was an old man, God's people said, "We want a king to rule over us." Samuel asked God for help. God told Samuel to warn the people about all the trouble a king could bring. A king would make the young man join his army, and the people would have to give the best things they owned to support the king. Samuel warned the people, but they still would not listen. Then God told Samuel to give them a king. God led Samuel to a man named Saul. Samuel poured oil on Saul's head. This was a sign that Saul was God's choice for their new king. Saul hid because he was shy. The people found him. Then Samuel said, "Here is your king." Everyone cheered and shouted, "Long live the king!" A good heart. 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 1 through chapter 16 verse 13. Saul was a good king for about 20 years. Then he began to disobey God. God was sorry he made Saul the king. Samuel was sad about it too. God sent Samuel to a man named Jesse to find a new king. When Samuel met Jesse, he said, "I'd like to meet your sons." When Samuel saw them, he thought, "These are strong-looking men." God said, "I do not look at the outside of a person. I look at the inside of a person. I look at the heart." Samuel asked Jesse, "Do you have another son?" Jesse said, "Yes, his name is David. He's out in the field with the sheep." Samuel asked to see him. As soon as David arrived, God told Samuel, "He's the one I want to be the next king." Samuel anointed David. He poured oil on David's head, and David was filled with God's power. The lost sheep. Matthew chapter 18 verses 10 through 14. Luke chapter 15 verses 3 through 7. Some people wondered who was most important to God. So Jesus told them a parable. Think about a shepherd. What does he do? He watches over his sheep. He gives them plenty of food, and he gives them plenty of water. He counts them up to make sure they are all there. If one is lost, he looks for it. The end.